Hey guys, welcome back. As always, my name is Lazar, and today we're going to be having a look at the talents and the stats of the Incarnate Dual Toxocyst. This is datamined information. Please don't treat this as final product. It may be subject to change, it may be completely incorrect, so bear that one in mind. Now honestly, these datamined leads haven't really been incorrect all that much up until this point. It's just that the final version is a bit more clearer, but I would still take this information with a pound of salt, but that's just me. Let's take a look at the accuracy for the Incarnate form on the Dual Toxocyst. Remains the same as the standard form, but the critical chance has been increased. Critical multiplier, however, has gone up from 2.0x, which is the standard in Warframe, pretty much to 3.0x. Fire rate also greatly increased from 1 second to 4.5 seconds. Now, as you read these stats, please remember the frenzy buff that you get from the Dual Toxocyst every time you get a headshot.
The main trick of the Toxocyst is a buff called Frenzy. If you look at the upper right side of the screen, you will see the buff gets refreshed with each and every headshot. You don't need to kill your target, but you do need to land headshots. The duration of the buff is 3 seconds, and additional headshots will not increase the timer, but it will reset the timer. The buff is 150% fire rate, heavily reduced recoil, as well as unlimited ammo. You also get 100% of the weapon's base damage as toxin, which can combine to the elemental combos you already made on the weapon. Stuff like corrosive, viral, or gas, for example.
So essentially, if you combine that into the Incarnate form, it should be pretty sick. Noise alarming, magazine of 12 and the reserve of 60 there. It doesn't really show how many charges we will have in the Incarnate form. Reload is gonna be on 2.4 seconds for the normal version, and the Incarnate shows a 2.0 second reload. Now that's kind of interesting because you don't really reload in the Incarnate form normally, so this might be a very different breed of weapon. Rivet disposition is gonna be 1.45 maximum. Wow, people actually play with this? Interesting. Maximum Rivet disposition is 1.5, the Fabled 5 out of 5. This is roughly 4 out of 5 if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, I would still get a Dual Toxocyst Rivet at the current time while prices are still cheap. The weapon will be made available in about 2 days from the publishing of this video. Status chance 43% up from 37% in the normal form, and trigger has been changed to automatic. Now that's a pretty big deal. The Dual Toxocyst Frenzy buff makes it a good weapon. Not a horrible weapon, but the problem is it's a semi-automatic trigger, and yes, you can bind to your scroll wheel and it's gonna work, but it doesn't really work all that well while you're actually aiming now, does it? So that trigger being changed from semi to automatic is a huge buff from my perspective. As for the damage, you got the same damage, essentially, still 75 total, but the layout has been changed. Before it was heavy into puncture, and by heavy I mean like 80% of the damage was puncture, which is good versus heavily armored targets. You get a damage benefit and all whatnot. Now they kind of balanced it out. You're still having mostly puncture, but you also got a bit of slash and impact as well. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the actual stats of the Incarnate form. Next, we're gonna have a quick look at the datamined talents. First option, tier 1, X damage per status proc on enemy with energy pool larger than Y. There's a lot of builds in Warframe that revolve around keeping your energy to the absolute max, but how exactly will this work with something like a Hildren, for example? Perhaps we're going to be able to retain this X damage per status proc indefinitely, and more importantly, how exactly is it going to work with Galvanized Shot? You know, the condition overload mod for secondary weapons. It's gonna be interesting to see if this one is gonna be an additive or a multiplicative effect. Second option, increase fire rate on ability use for X second stacks up 3 times. Essentially, if you can keep up the fire rate with this one, and if we get the frenzy proc in the Incarnate form, that's gonna be fantastic. I also see a trend. It is possible that some of these incarnations simply help the base form, so we might actually Fellarx the Dual Toxocyst, and by Fellarx I mean just make it better in its normal form using the talent. Tier 2, first option, reload from empty, faster reload speed. Faster reload speed may not seem like the most exciting of options, but at the very least it increases the speed at which the weapon transforms. So basically it's a good quality of life mod. It goes faster from normal form to Incarnate form. I'm just talking about the actual transformation and all whatnot. Reload while holstered. Oh, that can be powerful. That can be powerful if the reload while holstered will be functioning in its Incarnate form. Some Tenno like to use their entire arsenal. I'm not really one of them. I just use ranged weapons because I don't really like melee. But if you like to use your entire arsenal, oh wait, I can switch from primary to secondary. Boom, 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 boom. And that way you can have it reloaded when you go to it. Again, the big deal here, will it actually work in its Incarnate form? And it's still gonna be strong if you're gonna build a weapon Felarch style for its primary form. Second option, or what is that? Third option, recoil. So reduces recoil. As you may know, the Dual Toxocyst does kick like a bloody mule, but when the frenzy buff kicks in, it's a bit more manageable. Tier 3, the most exciting tier. First option is going to be high critical chance. Flat critical chance is not a very exciting tier, but more critical chance is very important considering that our base critical chance is only 11%. From what we've seen from similar talents, this is a modification of the base value. It's not a bonus additive after effect or anything of the sort. It simply modifies your base. It is the strongest buff you can possibly have because all of your mods are going to be bouncing off your base critical chance. So that's actually pretty good. We're going to have to see the value on this one. Maybe like a 20% to knock it to like 30%. That wouldn't be so horrible now, would it? Second option, additional vital damage in frenzied state. Oh, yes. Here we go. This gives us an indication. So either the frenzied state is gonna be working in its Incarnate form and the stats kind of support this, the Incarnate stats, or we are building this one, once again, Felarch style, and we're gonna use it in its normal form. I know that might seem a little bit discouraging and disappointing, but think about the Felarchs. It's one of the most powerful single target weapons in the game right now, and we use it in its normal form, the devolving weapon. This is actually interesting to me. So additional vital damage in frenzy, say additional keyword there. So we're probably not going to be building vital on this weapon if we manage to get strict vital from this one. That would be fantastic because that frees up a couple of mod slots. And yes, you can use a primer or a melee, a melee to prime your targets. That's something new. Let's say a primary weapon to prime your targets or the Panzervolpa Phyla. But if you're going for Steel Path, Circuit, Level Cap and all whatnot, you rather have your weapons stand on their own 2 feet because you don't know what exactly you're gonna get. And the final one, on kill, punch through for 8 seconds. I love punch through in Warframe. It's fantastic. It makes single target weapons into multi-target weapons, but to call them AoE is a bit of a stretch, especially considering that punch through can be fantastic if you got something to clump up your targets, Vauban, Korra, Nidus, etc. But there will be many situations when your punch roll is essentially worthless, so there is that to bear in mind. Honestly, this seems very interesting. I'm willing to bet that we might actually Felarch this one. But that, of course, remains to be seen. Tune in for the full and detailed build guide, which should be live in a couple of days. As always, my name is Leyzar. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. If you got any feedback for me, please let me know in the comment section down below. Also, in the community tab, you can go on ahead and vote which review you want to see first from the brand new rotation. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!